What's up, everybody? The sixth iteration of the Mythic League tournament for Magic Spellslingers happened over the weekend last Friday, and it was super interesting. A really exciting match, especially for me. So I'm really excited to talk about it. Let's go. What up, what up, what up? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Roxora, and here we do all things Magic and Magic Spellslingers. Going to be talking about the results from the sixth Mythic League tournament. I can't believe we're like already up to six. It's quite a lot. We're certainly getting up there. And yeah, we're going to be taking a look at some of these deck lists. Some of them are in different languages, and like a lot of them look pretty standard. So I'll kind of gleam over some. But yeah, and then I also commentated the finals match with Long Tim. Obviously didn't participate. Neither of us are in the Mythic League events, but obviously if they ever do any other types of events, I will be doing those. Yeah. And one of my favorite planeswalkers actually was in the finals, so I'm really excited to talk about that. I was really interested to see how that was going to go. But before we get into any of that stuff, please like, comment, subscribe. If you enjoy the content, you find it valuable, let me know. It really helps me out. And yeah, if you're looking for any kind of Spellslingers or Magic the Gathering content, I make videos here at least once a week, sometimes more. And I also stream at twitch.tv/Roxora098. So yeah, good place for Magic, good place for Spellslingers news, and if that ever happens again. And yeah, just general having a good time. All right, let's talk about some of these lists. So, some of them are pretty standard, and some of them are a little more interesting. It's like I'm not going to be. There's a couple of Liliana Reanimator decks. Obviously, like they're awesome, and maybe I'll talk about some sideboard stuff. But like, I'm not going to be going over like every individual card of those lists, because people should kind of know at this point. But Knight playing a really interesting the Ajani control deck that I've seen and I'm aware of that has kind of existed for a little while, right? So just kind of using Attack Yaks and Moorland Haunts as the late game plan, but then otherwise just playing Powered Stuns, Sun Titan, Day of Judgments, Icing Death, as kind of a control. So kind of more like a mid-range deck. I wouldn't necessarily call it a control deck, but definitely not a typical build for a Johnny. Yeah, and then kind of with that, right, a sideboard that you would expect to see from a kind of sideboard, or sorry, from a more controlling deck, right? Treetop Lookout, Parish Exorcist, Pinpoint Avenger. These are all cards that are kind of more reactive as opposed to proactive cards. Fermenter playing in a really interesting Gutfire Domri list. I might have to try this out. I don't know how well or not so well it performed. But there's also like Crater Hoofs without Gaia's Cradle or anything like that. I'm not sure how that works. I guess they have the Gatstaff Agitator. I don't know. Very interesting. I guess also they want it for Channeler of Might. I don't know. Very interesting list. I'm kind of interested in this. Yeah. A single Hunter's Moon in the sideboard. I know sometimes like people have been experimenting with that. Yeah, some interesting stuff there. Oh, Fangblade Brigand, or Brigade? Is it Brigand? I guess it's Brigand. I would have thought it would be Brigade. No, I guess because it's one. It's one Brigand, not a whole brigade. Anyways, as a kind of mid-range board removal kind of card, right? It can sometimes be a Pyroclasm. Boss Blades, or Blade of Steel, aka Bob, however you want to refer to them, right, was in the finals with Garrick, and a little bit more of an interesting build with Westvale Abbey, Profane Palace, or / Profane Phallus, but also running a Thornhide Gauntlet and a Bloodseeker Bat. As kind of like a little package, as well as Ghoul Tree Infusion. So, getting additional benefits when you target the creature. Sorry, also Garrick, I believe Garrick's ability also works with the Thornhide Gauntlet, the artifact that gives you additional power for each time you've targeted it. Right, so kind of an interesting little combo there. Getting a little bit of damage in the air. And yeah, and a pretty again standard sideboard. Just some lookouts as better 2-drops, Terras for kind of the removal heavy decks, and same thing with Cruel Flagellant. So very interesting list, and kind of combining the more kind of inherently and just generically powerful stuff about Garruk, but also kind of putting a little bit of spice in there that I think helped them out, help them in getting to the finals. Spoilers, like doesn't a lot of these kind of more techie cards didn't actually show up in the finals, at least from my recollection. So Karma here with a very cool well, not really niche or crazy, but I think just the fact that there's like this type of Kiora deck in this tournament was pretty cool. Very standard Kiora list. Actually, unstable mutagens is not something that I'm familiar with seeing, but interested to see how that worked out. I guess like with Crush of Worms and things like that, maybe. But generally, pretty standard. Mana Constrictor, Birds of Paradise, Panharmonicon, right, to work with Arcanus and Crush of Worms and things like that. So, and Daybreak Ranger, all these things, yeah. And Dungeon Geist, actually. So in the sideboard, Dungeon Geist, right? So you can double up on Dungeon Geist in maybe a matchup where they're more creature heavy and not as removal heavy is kind of cool. I believe so. This is in a different language, but it's just the standard Strahd OTK list. Again, not going to go over any individual cards because again, I assume that it's pretty standard. Nothing too crazy there. Yeah. So then Colossal Dreadmon, I think there's like another Liliana player that we're running the Reanimator Frost there. Yeah, again, nothing too crazy out of those lists. Bofi, it was the other player in the finals and has this very interesting Drizzt list. So again, Drizzt being one of kind of the first planeswalkers that I really enjoyed playing when it first came out, and then obviously was nerfed, kind of lost a little bit of representation, but here it is back again. Again, pretty standard stuff. Noting like 1 Birds of Paradise and 1 Stoneforge Mystic and 1 Path. I had a conversation with Bob before the match saying something about how they might have had a limited collection. Maybe they don't have all the cards in the game yet, which, by the way, if that's the case, is awesome that someone with a limited collection is making it to the Mythic League and making it to the finals. I think that's great. If that's the case, but also I think running 1 Birds of Paradise does kind of make sense. So again, I don't know. Again, I didn't really get a chance to talk to Bofi about the list in particular and if that was the case or their decision making. But yeah. Also notably, the Moorland Hotland did do a lot of work or did do some good things as we'll see, I guess, in the finals. But other than that, yeah, pretty standard like Ulrich, Zozu, Inferno at the top end here, Yanogu, as we've seen. Major Malice, one I think is one of the coolest cards in the game. Running Alarm Bell as a card advantage spell, and then also Shields Up and Giant Growth as the ways in which Bofi is determining to protect the creatures, right? Protect the queen kind of strategy as we've seen from Drizzt. Some interesting tech in Daughter of Runes. I guess just as a different kind of 1-drop. Thalia and Tajik and Sigarda as alternative legends, so that against kind of more controlling decks, maybe Thalia against maybe some of the combo decks or whatever, can be kind of good. So here you see, the other Path to Exile. So choosing, right, to only run 1 Path main, right. There also might be a thing about, not running too much removal because you need to make sure that you are playing the beatdown strategy and not just answering your opponent's threats without playing your own. So again, based on the gameplay from Bofi, I think they're very knowledgeable about Drizzt. So I'm gonna defer to their judgment when it came to it. They seem very adept at playing Drizzt. So here we have another Strahd combo. This looks like a very interesting Caddy Bree Druid class. It's funny, some of these seem like they're in English, but some of them aren't. So I don't know what's going on there, but anyways, it looks like just like a Westvale Abbey. Wait, this looks wild. Okay, I don't know what's going on there, but Fragster, explain. Niable here with a cool Gideon list, a blue-eyed Gideon list, Merlin Hod, Oath of the Paladin, but then at the top end running like Dungeon Geist, Windborn Rock, Spirit Vial, like what? And then the one of Fair Fight. So I'd be interested to see how this worked out. Like Vanquisher Angel in the sideboard, like this is wild. This is wild. Yeah, a lot of people I feel like experimenting. Again, as to say, Boss of Blades definitely doing some experimenting this tournament, not just trying to play the classic Garrick lists. Here we have a Chandra that definitely seems like there's some interesting experimenting going on here. We have like a lot of one-ofs, shock, burn through. I'm kind of confused why there's not multiple shocks. I mean, like typically these kinds of cards are pretty good. Lava X. Well, I don't know why you wouldn't run Ball Lightning, like 2 Ball Lightning made if you're making the decision. I don't know why some of these are one-ofs and some of these are two-ofs. Like Tasty Morsel also doesn't seem great. Yeah. Azure Pyromancer, like, seems like a card that should, if it's in the deck, should probably be in the sideboard. That seems like in a format where you have sideboards at access. It seems like the case. I mean, maybe they're just like kind of, because I'm also seeing like they have like again the second copies of Shock and Burn Through and Ball Lining over here. There's a random Mana Surge. I don't know what's going on with this list. I don't know what's going on there. Let's see. Oh, here's Wolf Girl, who I think won or was in the finals of the last Mythic League tournament, or maybe the one previously, or something like that. I don't remember, but playing Ingrath and pretty standard list. Pact of the Warlock is interesting, but other than that, I think looks actually pretty standard. Yenogu, Takedown, Death Raider. Yeah, actually pretty standard, but one of Hellrider at the top end, Looting Lizard. Yeah, pretty standard, but pretty cool. Actually, Counterfeiter is also a nice card. And then lastly, oh, Mr. Bimby with Teferi. I feel like it's been a while since I've really seen Teferi control here. Interesting. So, Sacred Sanctum, pretty standard. Interesting that we have a shields up. So probably combining that with the Runeshell Crab for some good blockers. Also, just again being a cheap trap. The one of Vindictive Shot to go along with the one of Arcanus, and then everything else looks pretty standard. The Snapcaster Mages casting Second Sun's Dawn or Day of Judgment are pretty nice. Yeah, it looks pretty standard. Yeah, cool. Like to see that. I do also miss playing like the hardcore control deck of Teferi. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's all of the lists, and that's all I was going to talk about. Again, pretty standard stuff, nothing too crazy going on here. Yeah, let's go ahead and look at the actual gameplay, and I'll talk about some takeaways at the end.
Okay. Looks
All right,
like
here we
we are
go.
good to go.
Very
All
happy
right.
to see Drizzt here.
I am super happy. No shade to Bofi. I would love to see their perspective too, but just to see what Bob has for this kind of pet Garrick build.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Drizzt, it's been a while, and I think their list is kind of pretty old school. Like I didn't see anything that like made me think otherwise. So that's interesting that it's still pretty competitive because I haven't seen it in quite a bit.
Yeah.
Well,
So
pretty
the
solid hand
core
for Bob.
one drops we're looking for are Matron and Pier. Those are two like probably optimal starts. Though maybe not in this matchup. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a good call. I think generally you like to have a one. I mean, maybe like Malice probably
Yeah.
over. over pure, but yeah, just trying to get your little
Hmm.
panther person going. But
But untested rookie, if they have a shields up, is also not bad. And I assume that that's what they have here. But boss here not taking the bait.
good job, Bob. Not trying to block with Garrick is usually a good call, especially when you got a Dark Covenant. This is interesting though, because I mean, absolutely could be shield. They went one drop. They've got access to it, but how do
It,
you play around it?
yeah, if I were Bob here, I would absolutely put my opponent 100% on shields up at this point. Um,
So we're trading Dark Confidant for shields up to draw a card, or we wait.
oh, I think they're not gonna attack. Yep, they're gonna kind of like force or kind of play off of it. I don't know. This is interesting.
Yeah, it does make the fight half, if they want to keep it up, it might
Yeah.
affect how they play the rest of the turns out, but it's shields up is so cheap that I always struggle with, do you just run into it and get it out of hand, or do
Yeah.
you try and play for later, which seems
The
like Bob is doing.
the activation on the infectious scorpion is very curious. It may be that bosses again just not going to block here because if your intent was to block, you would probably leave it right as a 2/3 so that you could block one, trigger the shields up if they have it, and then
I,
block the profitably block a 2/2.
yeah, yeah, no, that's a good catch too. I sometimes it's a reflex, like
All right, there we
Garrick
go.
says, "Ooh, all right." So there's a grudge match into the shields up. Yes, you take the
Yeah, so
trade.
little suboptimal. I guess if they want the fatal infection, maybe that's what they're doing. They really want this fatal infection now. Ooh,
Yeah,
very aggressive start.
yeah, yeah. Bob's thinking about just taking the 5 while furying and then throwing out the fatal infection. I think I like this.
Which you might think is not too great, but it will flip this profane palace and also make it this death shadow very cheap. So
Yeah,
what does Bofi here have for a huge death shadow? I think there is a path, and that's all I see.
I think that's it. Yeah.
I see one path. So yeah.
The age-old Garrick question: do I have enough as an aggro deck to deal with their death shadows?
But also down to 5, and there is an Inferno attacking in the air.
Yep. But you've
But
got a
this,
great line with Demonic Priest and Grudge Match to gain some
yeah.
life back.
Mhm.
I think that's what I would do. Yeah. And
I
then you can
agree.
just
I
throw your
agree.
axe on your Death Shadow for even more value. And I think going back to your point earlier, Roxora, I think sometimes it's good to throw the axe on your Scorpion if you think that they're going to have Grudge Match on there too, because
Mhm.
then at least it makes it so they can't
Oh, and
fully.
there's the path.
Oh,
Oh, and a
well,
huge goif. Ooh.
both I had it. So how are we gonna deal with this?
Yeah, this is really interesting now. I guess we still have this gluttonous goo
Hmm.
and this Kravis, like big, big creatures. But man, not gonna
Interesting.
put those out just yet.
Part of me was thinking about swinging there. You just trade for 3 health and then play the 7/7 Gluttonous Goo that can trade with
Mhm.
Tarmogoyf. Oh,
That's a good one.
and the hits just keep on coming. This is tough.
But the Scorpion will get to block and give them a fatal infection. Again, those
Yep.
seem to be doing a really good job of answering the larger creatures here.
Yep. Just take the 2. Yeah, we'll see. It's definitely applying the pressure here. Ulrich
Hmm.
was a great one, and even the one drop on top of it.
All
So
right.
there's
Yep.
the fatal infection. Okay.
And just running out the goo, right? Because of the Krov, it's not really a great play right now.
No, definitely not.
Ooh, a Moreland
More
Haunt
on haunt
trigger.
triggers.
What has died so far? Uh,
Inferno, the 2/2 for 1, and the 3/1. Okay.
yeah, untested rookie as a 1/1 flying. Not that great, but
That's okay. Yeah.
you know.
Bob probably breathes a sigh of relief about that one. But here you can also just not trade off your Ulrich and flip and see what upgrades you hit.
But I think they
And
still want to be attacking here.
yeah, I mean,
You
you're
will
way
still
ahead
end
on
up with
board.
a 4/3 with the Sundancer at the end of this turn, assuming no more plays after this.
Yeah. The
Could also
infuser
still
actually,
be shields up.
that's true. That's true. Okay.
Ooh.
Good first block there.
Yep.
That's definitely how you want to do it. And the infuser was actually pretty clutch because it made it so the bear couldn't trade with
Hmm.
Ulrich. So
Right.
definitely tough for Bob, but gained a bit of health back to be sort of out of range.
But here's the issue with Garrick now is there's not really a lot of cards left, right? Like if you want to play this Krav, you're gonna have to give up some uh one of your body, like one of your creatures. And
Yeah,
Bullfight still at a healthy 23 life.
I think you're just sacking Dark Confidant here and grow your bear. Yeah, that's probably the only thing you can do.
Mhm.
And then maybe Bob can eke it out with Silent Strike. But I think if Bowfight draws Stoneforge Mystic and like hits anything somewhat relevant, it's going to be
Mhm.
really tough here.
Trying to think. There's also Driz Herald. There's also I guess Yonogu wouldn't be that good, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Hermit, not the scariest thing, but can get a nice flip on both the werewolves this turn.
Ooh, it is
Oh,
the Yonogu. Okay,
10/10.
it is. It is big.
Ooh, boy. Well, so you can block with bear, take 6, block on the 4/2, go to 3.
What removal does Bob
Yeah,
have left? Does
I
Bob
think,
run? No, they aren't running. Any of the flagrant fouls or anything like that. So they don't really have
yeah,
great ways to deal with this Yonogu directly now.
yeah, this is, I don't know
Wow.
what would be.
It's a very good game so far. Ooh.
Oh, no.
Oh, but the red three.
Can't play it.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
Yeah, no way you block. Yeah,
Wow.
Bowfight's got it. So you take,
Is
yep,
that oh
okay.
that's not gonna do it, yeah. Wow.
So yeah, because he would take 9 and then gain 5. Yeah, it's not. It's still going to be dead. And the Inferno
Just for good measure.
yeah, just to make sure the 10/10 Yunogu didn't get blanked.
Oh my
Jeez.
goodness, wow. Oh my
Oh
goodness.
my goodness.
Wait, that that was off
Yeah,
of the Icecrown Scepter. I was like, where did they get this haste?
yeah, off the alarm bell. Oh, sorry. Yes, off the
Yes,
ice
that
crown
was
bell.
like the Inferno gave them a Icecrown Scepter, and then the Icecrown Scepter gave them a haste.
Oh,
Hilarious. Love that.
Bob was treading water
10,
for
10 out of 10
pretty much the
game.
whole match. For all those Drizzt haters out there,
Yeah.
sorry to show you this, but he can still get there. That's for
Mm.
sure. So we're gonna go to sideboards, I assume now. I'm trying to think what Bob had that was looking good into aggro.
Oh,
Okay, so we're cutting the costs. I think that is
Circle the Druid, maybe? Tree
that's
Chop
probably it.
Lookouts as just
Oh
three
yeah,
threes. But they don't
sure.
have
Sure.
much. Whereas Bowfire is gonna get a Path to Exile. I think that's mostly it. I guess if they wanted Sigarda for kind of removal protection and
I
just
kind of
a
like
flying
Sigarda.
body. Yeah,
Yeah.
it seems fine. Um, it kind of seems a little slow, given that again, it seems like Driz wants to really put pressure and not have to play on the back foot too much.
All right. Game two. Let's go.
Wow, 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 wow.
Well, if you're Bob, you're praying for some Channeler of Mites and some other venomous scorpions and just
Oh yeah, I missed it. Did we see what how they sideboarded? Is that way they just did the lookouts and that's it?
two lookouts in the circle of druid, like you called.
And
Yeah.
removing what? Removing some top
It
end.
was it was Koth and oh my goodness, I missed the yeah, I think it was like Koth and two other like
Like
4 or 5
Krav.
drops, I
Or
think.
sorry,
Yeah.
Krav's right there. Never mind. Something. It's all good.
Shoot, yeah, that was so quick actually. Bob just knows. He knows what he needs.
Yeah, it knows what he needs. All right.
I mean, this hand is looking pretty solid so far.
General Might's good, but not into an elite vanguard.
No. Oh, yes. Thank you, Fermenter. I see in the chat, Fermenter was saying it's the Blood Hunter bats, or the ones that give a vampire haste, I think, that Bob
But
was running.
Bloodseeker bat.
Bloodseeker bat, thank you.
Why? I guess just cause what they do what they I guess they just give it itself flying and then
It's self-flying and ghoul tree it, I guess, or something.
yeah, interesting.
Bob's in a different planet when it comes to deck
Yeah,
construction.
he's
So,
wild in a little bit.
oh, for the gauntlet. Okay, got you. I'll be real,
For
Fermenter.
the
I'm not even sure I know what Gauntlet does. I know it gives like buffs to do something,
it's each
but
time it gives something a buff for each time it gives one power for each time you've targeted it. So you target it itself, and then I guess you like ghoul tree it, and then you buff it up again. I don't know.
that's wild. I love it.
Is that a so you had a Driz Herald and a Shields up, looks like.
Yep.
So 3/3 legendary Vanguard here.
Huh. Do we use our mana gem or do we not? Think you. I mean, the only reason you wouldn't is because you want a Veil Curse Predator probably next turn.
Yeah, the bane of everyone's existence.
Send in the clown. Okay, no
Yeah,
block.
but I like the no block here.
Okay.
Okay.
We're gonna get punished if they've got path, but if they don't, hopefully that's a bit of a stopgap.
Actually, Path isn't even that bad, right? Because it lets you play the Cursed Veil Predator.
That's true. Yeah, you can kind of recover there. It's a good point. Okay, birds.
Yeah.
Another 10/10 Yenogu, maybe?
Oh, that would be
Nope.
so good.
Not quite.
Yeah. Turn 4 sevens, or sorry, turn 3 7/7 is it's pretty big.
Yeah.
Okay, scoping out the shields up there.
Yes. Always, always. Very, very clean play from Bob.
Yeah, I think things are definitely looking up for Bob right now.
Yeah. You've got double 2-drop this next turn. So that's also pretty good for getting the Abbey flipped. And not any follow-up really from Bofi.
Ooh, but here's the other thing with the Profane Palace is
Oh,
the lack of mana, right? Being limited to 3 mana if it ever triggers early. So the
that
class
is
card,
awkward.
Yeah, that's what I found is that if it triggers too early, oftentimes you're stuck on very, very low mana and can't really make enough plays to bring you back up. So yeah, not a very uh defensive board, let's say, from Bob. Obviously doing a lot of work on Bullfigh's life total right now, but Ulrich is a good one here. Gonna make the
Rick
trade.
is always a beating. All right, pretty much same position. Just how do we stabilize?
Well, the answer is Cursefield
Is
Predator.
it? Oh, it's the big wolf that eats everything. Yeah,
Yeah,
that could be it. I think Bob is one right now.
I would snap it. I would snap it up. I don't know why you're even thinking about anything else other than just slamming this Cursefield Predator.
Because what do you lose to here? Like Inferno's not going to kill you. Uh,
Wow.
Interesting.
I guess this is okay.
Yeah, it's six of one, half a dozen of the other, right? You either clean up their board and have a Death Shadow, or you put out these guys to gain some
Because
life.
oh my goodness,
Oh
that's
no!
hilarious. Because also even if they do have an Inferno, there's no guarantee that it answers the Inferno just because there's so many like two powered creatures on the battlefield.
Wow, man.
Interesting
If
with the attack with Zozu, as it's just gonna get
yeah,
eaten up. But
I I would have loved to see Bofi hold to actually try and get like an upgrade or two here,
mhm,
but I guess most things are gonna die anyway. So, but Bob now able to get a bit of stabilization here. I mean,
we're down
now
to
they are fully gonna clean the
four.
board, I believe.
Uh,
Right? Bird, then Ulrich, then
yep.
yeah, it's a full wipe.
Oh, and that's just lethal.
And that sure is lethal. Oh man. You love your 4 for ones
Yeah.
in Magic, you know? There it is. Yeah, Bob playing patiently to try and capitalize on clearing away their blockers to hit the
Hmm.
magic number 13 there. What a game. The Abbey is really interesting. I've always found that land to be such a, I mean, maybe frustrating at times, but fun one to play, at least with Davriel and some of the life advantages that you can get
Hmm.
off of it and stabilize, and definitely made a huge difference for Bob in that
Yeah.
game.
So no changes for Bob from here. Obviously, liked the change in game plan, or at least the little small adjustments that were made.
Yep. On to game three. Very quick match. Okay. I think the Fury is the one I'd be questioning. Okay, sends back the grudge match as well, but gets it right back. Okay. Not the best hand for Bob.
Yes, but being on the play here, it's probably fine.
Yeah. I mean, if you're lucky enough to get the Scorpion into grudge match, that's going to be pretty nice. Okay.
There's the gal.
Okay,
Double one drops.
we are rolling. They've got any way to push through and not have to deal with this Scorpion. This is going to be really rough. So blocking Matron, I think, right? You just want to
Yeah.
try and get that off the board. Put the
Oh, if they
Venom
have
on
giant
there.
growth. Oh, it'd be so
Yeah,
good.
if
Oh,
they have anything here, it's going to be really
oh.
rough. All right, Bofi, do you have it?
There
Yep.
we go.
All right. This is definitely gonna be a rough one.
I'm not even trying to hide that I'm rooting for Drizzt at this point.
That's all good, Roxanne. Don't
And
hide it. We have to love the things that we love in this game. Yeah.
I'm being transparent about it. Yeah, interesting.
Quite.
I would Fatal
Yeah.
Infection the matron, no, just to guarantee it off the board.
Yeah, I guess it's close here. I guess maybe Bob is thinking, okay, if somehow they can set up Matron to, I don't know, somehow like come back this time. I guess if you're thinking there's no guarantee it will get off the board, then
Well, see, like yeah, because here they just do this and then they
mm,
just get in for even more damage.
yeah, I think you might have been right about that. It's hard to know what was
It is tough. There is the Cursed Veil Predator in hand, but here we see the Profane Palace.
again.
Yeah,
That is
keeping boss on just 3 mana.
that's I feel like when I play with that card, that's happened maybe a handful of times. I
Oh,
can't believe we see it back to back.
Zozo.
Uh-oh. We're in a little bit of trouble from Bob's perspective. Oh no, this is 9 any way you slice it.
Mm-hmm.
And you're
And
gaining back 3, so
I guess
6.
the
So
best
yes.
thing they could do next turn if they don't get a if they do get a mana gem is I guess Demonic Priest and Curse Bearer. But if
Jeez,
they
not
get
being able to play it, right?
another trigger here, it's gonna be really rough.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alright, so you can go Demonic, Garrick, fight Zozu, right? Or
Yeah. Oh,
okay.
they're choosing
I
to.
I don't
Interesting.
I don't love that. I feel like Zozu is way more threatening here, right? Even though you can block it.
It is. I guess it's technically not lethal, but
It's
oh,
not,
also
but
sorry, right? It
still.
this raises it to a 4/2, so it will trade with Zozu actually, so it's
It
okay.
it does.
But oh,
Oh
oh,
no.
if this gets
That's
flying or sneak, it is just lethal.
yeah. That's truly unfortunate.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, good that Bofi is thinking about it. Like
I mean,
maybe
you
there's
absolutely
something
take
awkward there.
the odds here, right? Like if you just get it, like even then, if you just get like trample, it's still good. If you get shield, it's good, right? Or
Pretty much
yeah,
anything aside
yeah,
from like +3 +0 or whatever it
yeah.
is.
Any well, at the very least, it'll buff the one toughness. It's guaranteed to be +1/+1.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Oh, okay.
Okay, so not choosing to play
But he's able to
the
attack
weapon, but
through.
yeah,
Then you
that's
have
still
to
really
block.
good. And the oh, but the
Ooh,
Curse Veil Predator will still answer this board.
it
No, it
does.
won't. No, it won't. Never mind. Never mind.
Right? Oh, because
It'll
it
answer the two twos. Yeah, the two power
yeah,
creatures. Never mind.
man. Oh no, and Moreland Haunt triggers.
Okay, and then let's see what
Oh,
the
this
weapon
is
was.
looking pretty dreadful.
Okay,
Okay, so that's 5. It's 10 with
that's I think
yeah,
gonna do it.
that's
Yeah,
gotta be game, right?
yeah.
That's 9 on
14 power Zozu doesn't matter.
oh no. Oh,
Whew.
that was Drist, everybody. That was him.
All right, so there you go. You have Bofi taking the matchup in a 2-1 fashion. I think certainly one of the most I don't want to say competitive because I don't want to say like the other ones weren't competitive, but like the most back and forth, the kind of really interesting to watch. This is like one of my most favorite ones to watch. Again, obviously, as I said in the commentary there, rooting for Driz there. Obviously, Garrick being a little bit of the boogeyman, having a lot of strong cards, but yeah, so some notable things, right? So again, even though Garrick typically has the power of beating down and trading and then making their creatures even bigger, it seemed often that the way that Bofi was winning the game was by being the aggressor, right? Putting a lot of pressure and preventing boss doing any of their shenanigans. Another noteworthy thing, I think, I don't know if it came up in match 1 or 2 or 3, or I think at least was relevant in all of them, was the Westvale Abbey, or more accurately the Profane Palace, being flipped early meant that there was a chance, and in some cases it happened, where Bob was very low on mana, and even though they received some demonic priests, you see here they weren't really able to deploy them or use enough cards effectively to stabilize after taking so much damage. So the Profane Palace is a powerful card with Death Shadow and Krav and the like, but does not come without downside. Yeah, here, like in this match, obviously, bringing boss down to 5 life, and then having the path, and then also Tarmogoyf and Ulrich, just having bigger bodies naturally, right? A lot of times, besides Krav and Goo and Death Shadow, a lot of Garrick's creatures tend to be small, so Bob having to really rely on the fatal infections and things like that, and the more damaging removal, the Garrick Wild Speaker's Fury, right, to remove Bovi's creatures, and that obviously worked out pretty well for Bovi when it caused, especially with the Fury taking dealing damage to Bob. But then also, especially with fatal infection, it's it's cheap, but it's also a fairly slow removal piece, and a fairly telegraphed one, right? One that you can kind of play around and make use of, right? So I think in some cases here, using Grudge Match to trade off the infected creature, right? Game 2 was really interesting because again, as you see, the boss kind of using the mana gem here to run out a Krav early, and that really prevented Bofi from making any real progress after that. We don't know what Bofi's sideboarding was like. I don't think we really saw anything that gave me any inclination. Obviously, boss making the slight changes of adding the treetop lookouts, just as upgraded creatures, removing some of the more odd cards. But yeah, here this match, the turn 4 Krav, or sorry, turn 3 Krav, pretty much stopping any semblance of aggression at that point. And then an unfortunate hand for Bob in the last game, right? The hand didn't start off well, and then the mulligans didn't really help at all. And then Bofi starting off very, very strong with double 1-drops. So that's kind of all she wrote for that one. Again, I don't want to just like write it off as luck or anything like that, but I was trying to look for, and I tried to probe Bob, and I think there was a conversation with, no, sorry, we didn't end up having a conversation with Bofi again. Wish I could have gotten that, but I tried to figure out if there was something that Bofi was doing in terms of how they're playing, how they built Drizzt, what they were doing to get to this position, or to have this kind of result with Drizzt. I found that really interesting. Yeah. Yeah. So I mean that Drizzt taking it down, very, very cool stuff. And showing that Garrick can be beat, right? Garrick didn't win. I don't think they won the last one either, right? But yeah. Drizzt taking it down. Clearly, Drizzt is now the best planeswalker. No, I'm kidding, obviously, but yeah, very cool stuff. And it was obviously great to commentate with Long Tim again. Always fun and to interact with people from the Spellslingers discords and everything. Yeah. So very exciting match. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, remember to leave a like, comment, subscribe. all that stuff really helps me out. And let me know what kind of content you want to see. Is there any kind of Spellslingers content you guys are really looking for? Again, the Spellslingers LGS Discord is doing events still, so obviously if you want to compete in this as well, you can go ahead and join their Discord. I always like put links where I can. But also, is there any kind of interesting strategies that you would like to see me try out or experiment with? Yeah, let me know. All right, guys, thanks for watching. See you guys in the next video.